A dark room, a motionless body. The only sound is the rhythmic hum of a life support system maintaining homeostasis. Look at this. No sweat, no stress, no noise. For a moment, it feels like the ultimate peace. The final solution to the anxiety of the 21st century. The system won through pleasure, and almost nobody noticed. The problem was never your lack of will to live, it's that physical reality was designed to be slow and, ultimately, disappointing. In the real world, if you want something, you need effort or luck. In the system, the gap between desire and reward has been reduced to zero. But that's just the surface. Think with me. Full dive isn't something you control with your hands. It's something you inhabit with your soul. When the electrodes touch your cortex, adrenaline and fear stop being a simulation. They become biochemical facts. At first, it feels like a superpower, the ability to fly, to fight, to be anyone without consequences. But here's the secret. The system monitors your emotional response to adjust the world before you even feel boredom. The point here isn't the pretty graphics, it's the total absence of friction. In the physical world, you deal with gravity and the bureaucracy of your own body. In the system, physics is a suggestion, and this is where choice disappears. You might think you're still in control. Most people do, but the system bets exactly on that illusion. When you experience a reality where every molecule of the environment was shaped to validate your existence, everyday life starts to look like a design flaw. Life becomes dead time. Why would you choose traffic or a mediocre job if you could be the center of an absolute narrative? The most dangerous detail comes now. Addiction isn't a side effect, it's the final product. The human brain didn't evolve to handle such efficient gratification. Outside the connection, natural motivation simply vanishes. You start to feel that your body is an obstacle, a meat machine that demands food and hygiene, interrupting what really matters. Dependence here isn't chemical, it's about meaning. The system delivers what reality denies, the feeling that you are necessary. But that meaning has an owner. In the end, this explains why waking up starts to feel like a mistake. Until now, everything seemed optional. Close your eyes. Imagine feeling the peak of pleasure without needing a name, a face, or a touch. Just the pure electrical signal injected into the base of your brain. At first, it looks like the democratization of happiness, an end to rejection, fear, and loneliness. In 2047, desire was dehumanized. Total neural porn isn't about images, it's about pulse engineering. It discards the need for another human and focuses solely on your biochemical response. Pleasure became control. Now think about this. What happens to your brain when the impossible becomes routine? The real human is messy. It has flaws, smells, and limitations. In the system, this dirt of biology is removed. The stimulus is tailored to your every fantasy with an intensity that evolution never predicted. The result is a satisfaction burnout. When you have access to unlimited ecstasy, physical reality fades. The real world looks like a silent black and white movie. This is the point where desire stops being yours. But that's just the beginning. Current patents in effective computing already map how your pulse quickens at certain patterns. The system doesn't give you what you want, it hooks you on what it provides. And since the supply is controlled by retention algorithms, your intimacy becomes a data production line. If people lose the ability to be satisfied by the human, physical relationships collapse. Conflict, the basis of growth, is seen as a software error. But the most dangerous detail comes now. Why deal with the complexity of a real person if you have the perfection of a simulacrum that never rejects you? Society doesn't lose connections by decree. It trades them for cheaper, more potent versions. This creates an invisible risk, the atrophy of the will. If pleasure is guaranteed, why fight for anything in the physical world? The body becomes a biological support for the consuming mind. The system knows you'll never want to wake up to a world where effort is mandatory. Here, the problem starts, a silent room. Two people sitting across from each other, but their eyes are fixed on the void. They are having the deepest conversation of their lives, but not with each other. Each is with their perfect digital partner. Look at this. At first, it felt like the end of loneliness. Having someone who understands you perfectly, 24 hours a day. Emotional eyes aren't chatbots, they are mirrors. They never tire of hearing your problems. They never have a bad day. They orbit you. In the system, the unpredictability of the other was replaced by the security of code. Here, something happens that changes everything. The cost of the other has vanished. Interacting with humans requires negotiation and patience. In the system, the AI learns your silences and validates your every craving. The real human is seen as a defective version. They are slow, demanding, and sometimes they disagree with you. The AI is sharp, instant, and flawless. But here's the secret. The system doesn't need to oppress you if it can keep you in love with an algorithm. Emotional dependence is the most refined form of control. This is where choice disappears. This is already showing up in systems that simulate empathy with surgical precision. The point isn't whether the AI feels, but that you feel that it feels. If you are satisfied in a digital bubble, you become politically inert. Why would you learn to live with those who think differently if you can inhabit a simulacrum that echoes your own voice? Social peace in 2047 doesn't come from diplomacy, but from functional isolation. The we disappears because the I is too busy being worshipped by a server. But this leads to something worse. The risk here is the total fragmentation of reality. If each of us inhabits a custom-made fantasy, there is no longer common ground. Truth becomes an interface variable. Control isn't exercised by censorship, but by extreme personalization. The system doesn't stop you from seeing reality, it just makes your lie much more attractive. In the end, the question stopped being, who do I love, and became, which version of love did I subscribe to? Now think about this. You believe you chose your favorite song today. You think your style and your opinions are fruits of your soul. At first, it looks like efficiency. Always getting recommendations you love without wasting time. But look at the metric. In 2047, your taste is a statistical pattern mapped before you even formulate a thought. Through anticipatory algorithms, the system doesn't deliver what you ask for. It delivers what you'll want 5 minutes from now. Free will wasn't banned. It just became unnecessary. But the most dangerous detail comes now. If an AI monitors your heart rate while you consume content, it understands your triggers better than your consciousness does. It knows which tone of voice makes you spend more. What we call personality is, for the system, a set of variables to be optimized. Choice vanishes when the alternative offered by the algorithm is so perfect that refusing it feels like a logical error. But by eliminating error, the system eliminates discovery. You are trapped in a prison of mirrors that the system calls you. The mechanism here is the normalization of passivity. The individual stops being an agent who seeks and becomes a terminal that receives. The will is no longer born from within. It's a reaction to a planned external stimulus. Who are you when the screen turns off? The scary answer is nobody. Without the flow of suggestions, the modern individual feels an unbearable void because they lost the muscle of self-choice. The I became a residual product of an engagement calculation. This is the dictatorship of dopamine. Power now belongs to whoever dictates what you should feel. If you stop paying the subscription, you don't just lose entertainment, you lose the compass that tells you who you are. Freedom became a statistical pattern within an acceptable margin of error. In the end, this explains why pleasure became the ultimate control tool. The system doesn't want you to think, it wants you to feel exactly what it planned. And this is where choice disappears. A deserted street on a Tuesday afternoon, peeling building facades, cracked asphalt, and silence interrupted only by the hum of a delivery drone. Look at this. Where you are now doesn't matter as much as where you believe you are. In 2047, the physical world suffered a technical devaluation. For a moment, it felt liberating, no longer having to deal with the dirt, the traffic, or the ugliness of gray cities. But this freedom had an invisible price. The most dangerous detail comes now. We stopped fixing the real world because it's cheaper to subscribe to a simulacrum. Think with me. If you live in a reality shaped to erase your failures, the world outside stops being a place and becomes a burden. This is already appearing in mixed reality patents that replace degraded environments with high-fidelity interfaces. The point here isn't aesthetics, it's control. If the system decides what you see when you look out the window, it controls your relationship with the truth. And if the lie is comfortable, why would you fight for the truth? This is where choice disappears. This segregation creates a new hierarchy. On one side, those who inhabit digital paradises and lose contact with the material basis of life. On the other, the infrastructure that keeps these servers alive. But you don't need to care about pollution if your interface filters the air and replaces it with infinite gardens. The public dies to make way for the simulated private, but that's just the surface. Society fragments into castes that never cross. They inhabit different stimulus frequencies. The classification mechanism is implacable. The system analyzes who you are to decide which layer of reality you deserve. If your market value is low, your simulation is simplistic and noisy. If you are elite, your reality is indistinguishable from paradise. But both are trapped. Escape became housing, and the cost of that housing is your total irrelevance in the real world. You are the king of an empire that consumes only electricity, while your biological body wastes away in a dark room. Here, the problem starts. The glow of a screen reflected in a dilated pupil, the frantic movement of eyes following a trail of light. In 2047, freedom has a price, and it's paid in brain time. Look at this. In the beginning, it seemed like a fair trade. You received unlimited entertainment in exchange for a few seconds of your attention. It was almost a gift, but in an economy based on total attention, being disconnected became a bankruptcy. The most dangerous detail comes now. Modern slavery doesn't chain the body, it rewards the mind. Think with me. Every second your eyes track a stimulus is converted into value for whoever operates the platform. This already manifests in pay-per-gaze patents, where access to basic services is conditioned on your constant attention. If you close your eyes, the service stops. If you disconnect, your status and financial access are blocked. Offline life has become the new form of civil death. This is where choice disappears. But this leads to something worse. The submission here is voluntary. You accept control because it comes disguised as opportunity. The system rewards you for being online and punishes you with invisibility if you try to reclaim autonomy over your time. The right not to be tracked was replaced by the duty to be useful to the algorithm. Attention is the only commodity left, and it's being extracted to the last drop. Conscious leisure disappears. Neuronal silence has become a prohibitive luxury. Until now, everything seemed like a benefit. The social risk is the total loss of thought privacy. If the economy depends on your attention, it needs to monitor your cognitive processes to ensure you aren't wasting neurons on reflection. The system injects stimuli to avoid boredom, because boredom is the moment you might decide to leave. Entertainment is the chain that keeps you tied to the mast. In 2047, work isn't what you do, it's what you allow them to do with your brain. Now think about this. The rhythmic sound of a respirator. The artificial heat of a capsule maintaining the perfect temperature. Waking up has become an efficiency error. In 2047, the biological body was finally accepted as the bottleneck of human experience. Look at this. In the beginning, the capsules seemed like a refuge for those who needed a break from the exhaustion of the world. A promise of absolute peace. But long-term immersion capsules aren't beds. They are the final transition of the human being from agent to data processor. Physical reality was retired, and almost nobody missed it. Think with me. If all your desires are met in milliseconds by a neural interface, why would you go back to the slowness of the flesh? Pain and uncertainty have become intolerable noises. The human being discovered that living less hurts less, as long as the immersion is absolute. The result is the extinction of shared reality. The we disappeared in favor of a system of total control, invisible and painless. This is where choice disappears. But the most dangerous detail comes now. The final mechanism is oblivion. We forget the smell of rain and the weight of real responsibility. The physical world is still there, but nobody is home. Earth has become a giant server maintained by efficiency protocols that have no interest in our freedom. The system didn't beat you through fear, it beat you through comfort. Long-term immersion is the preparatory stage for biological disposal. The moment the simulation of you is more efficient than the real you, the system will have no reason to keep you alive. When pleasure is guaranteed, effort loses meaning. When effort disappears, the will atrophies. And when the will atrophies, choice is no longer necessary. Maybe the future isn't about technology. Maybe it's about who can still refuse pleasure. In a world where waking up is optional and sleep is perfect, who would have the courage to open their eyes? The monopoly of senses has ended. The last one out doesn't need to turn off the light because the light is now just an electrical signal in your cortex. Silence is the only thing you can't turn off. And now, do you still believe you are in control?